It says broadcasted as live, so I welcome you to January 30th, 2014, 3:17 p.m. I Sketchup, you can too, using warehouse models that are junk and making them woodworker friendly. I have noticed, and I apologize for some of my times being in error. When you start a Hangout on the air and you hit now, it changes to later. So I think this one is actually going to be right. It started right now and it's not going to post for 7 o'clock. We'll find out after I get done. Okay. Yesterday, I grabbed a model of a sideboard from the warehouse, and all it was faces. If we were in a true 3D program, we would call them. I interrupted myself and I got what I was saying. Oh well, we'd call them something. If I remember it, I'll interrupt myself and tell you again. Sheet solids is what we'd call them. I told you I'd interrupt myself. Okay, I will open screen share. I'll start that, and here we go. Here is the model as we were working on it yesterday. We have created these components. They are not accurate yet, but they at least are apparently solids. You can see on the inside here that that back has no depth whatsoever. It is a 2D object. So we will go ahead and review a little bit so I can catch up with what I was doing. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this side of the unit today, and then maybe a drawer, because the drawer itself, if I mouse button 1, then mouse button 3 and select hide, lo and behold, that selects the back face. So the drawer has absolutely no volume whatsoever. It needs to have a front, a back, a bottom, 2 sides, guides, rails, a whole bunch of things to make a drawer. If you had a drawer that thin, you couldn't even put air in it. It'd just leak right out. So I'll hit enough buttons to get out of that. I'll hit Control Z and put the face back in it. This looks like it is. I'm trying to figure how that would be made. This shows where my woodworking skills are not very good. I think what I would do is make this a panel on a panel in a frame. Now, if that is wrong, guys, I'm more than willing to let you cue me in. You can message me on, in fact, right now I'm going to go off screen share so you can see me. There. You can message me on my email, which is bwelty5@gmail.com. You can message me on Google Plus under this ID, or you can message me in Facebook under iSketchup, you can too, or you can message me in YouTube. There's just all sorts of ways to grab a hold of me and say, no, that's not a good way to do it. And if you say that, I'll go back and redo it for you, because I like learning. Okay, back to screen share. Maybe. Come on, screen share. Yippee, yippee, come on. Google is not being kind to this old geezer. I'm poking the button, really, people. I am. I would. Oh, I know something I forgot to do. I forgot to maybe I'm not even broadcasting, even though it says it. It seems like I have lost a whole bunch of stuff here. Okay, I will turn on my logo. Well, that works at least. Now let's try screen share again. I'm clicking the button, people. Really, I am. You can even see that right down there. My little logo is back up. So I've been clicking buttons. Oh, I don't want to have to stop this thing. Well, that was very interesting. If you got back with me, I appreciate it. I'm going to now have to figure out how to splice these two together. It would not allow me to start screen share. And now I'm going to try putting my logo back up here. Logo on there, screen share. Here we go. All right. First thing I'm going to do is select this face, and this, oops, not that one, and this face, and drag them under move. I'm going to copy them out so that I can use them to start my panel. I've selected that one. I'm going to use my hotkeys of Shift C to create a component. And I'm going to use the same thing to create this component. And I'll do the same thing for this component. This one's going to have to be these are all going to be subassembled into another assembly. Okay. Now, this one, all three of these I'm going to drag out from the original. And now I will make this one active. And I'm going to extrude that one 3/8 of an inch. Now, we may or may not want to keep that at 3/8 of an inch, but at least I have something. In fact, it looks like it should be 1/4, but I will keep it at 3/8 for the time being because I'm probably going to have to do several other operations here. I'm going to extrude this one rearward also by 3/8, except I don't have it active yet. And here we go. And now I have this face frame. Then I'm going to make that 3/4 of an inch, but I'm going to extrude it the opposite way. .75 there. Now this one needs to be broken apart into rails and styles. I'm trying to figure out which would be prettier. I think I'm going to do it this way. Make this active. L is my keystroke for line. I'll bring it down here. I'll bring it back to here. I'll bring it from there to there. I'll do the same thing over here. Now I should be able to select these elements, Shift C, and it will create a subcomponent, except I didn't because I didn't watch what I was doing. Let's see if I've got them all. Shift C, and what I didn't check is that right there. I don't know why they ran this algorithm so that if it's inside of something, it doesn't replace it automatically. So you've always got to be careful that when you're making a component that might be attached to something, that you say replace it. So now I have component 11. I will do the same thing up here. Line function, here to here, here, perpendicular back, and here to here. Excuse me, I should have put that on mute. You can see that I have a valid face created on this. So I'm going to try to get only that geometry. And you can see when I first selected it from top left to bottom right, it didn't get anything. Bottom right to upper left, I included what I wanted, except maybe for that line right there. But we'll try it. Shift C, and again, it's not defaulted. Create. Now, I'm going to take these two components. This one, I'm going to move it this way 2 inches, and I'm going to move this one 2 inches down, just so I can see what the ends look like. That wasn't down, that was out. And you can see that it's got issues because my fault, I didn't grab all of it. But what I can do is hit my line key, and it didn't do anything because I wasn't on a component. You will not believe how many times I have yelled at myself for working in something that wasn't active. Line function, here to here. And now we'll get rid of this little line right here, so I have a nice solid piece that far. And I have to go back into the same line function here and go here to here and get rid of that same line again. Now, my component 12 is a solid piece. And I'm trying to drag back down here. Now, this one needs some work. You would think that that should make a face. Well, as a matter of fact, let's try that. I'm going to select these. I'm going to make it active first. I'm going to select these 4 lines, and I'll show you that the system should do it, and then you'll see why I didn't do it that way. Tools, utilities, create face. Bingo, I've got one. Now, I'm going to go to the other end and show you why, in this particular instance, doing it that way is dumb. Okay, go back to my line function, which is my hotkey L. Again, if I just put a line there, 2 clicks rather than a whole bunch of them, and I have an end. Now, yesterday I found out that most of these dimensions that created this thing really aren't too good. So I'm going to go into this one, make it active, and I'm going to go into a horizontal dimension, which is not accurate. And I'm going to go into a vertical dimension, which is also not accurate. And I'll do the same thing on this one. Okay, we've got a whole bunch of bogus information here. But at least now I have something that I can work on. One in almost, that little tilde, like I was saying yesterday, means almost 1 in 5/32, and this is almost 34 and 7/64. I doubt if you're going to cut anything that accurate, so we're going to end up tweaking this thing. Also, yesterday I showed that when you zoom in and you're working with a dimension that you want to try to get valid, zooming in to get that in, you can't see the dimension. But you can go in to text position when you highlight the dimension, text position outside the end, and there we have it up there. So now when I grab this end and start moving it up and down until that tilde goes away, whoops, there it is. I want to make it 34 even, so I'm just going to move it 5/16 down. Now, I may decide to make it a quarter or 3/16 longer, but right now I just want it something solid that I can work with. Okay, this one, make it active, and I'm push pull. 61/64. Now I'm going to go back 5/64. 7/8. So far, so good. Now, I forgot to do this on my other member because the dimension was way down here. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to try to make this 5/32 something accurate. And I had one, and I let it go. This can get real tedious. It's always easier to draw something accurately in the first place. There, I have it 13/64. So I'm just going to go down 3/64. And now I have it 5/32. I'll make this one active again. I'll select that face, twist it so I can see my dimension. Grab push pull down here, or extrude as it really should be called. And I will drag, ooh, good, got it dead nuts. Now that's probably an offensive term to some people. Please forgive me if it is. It's not meant to be, but people are strange. I will go in, let's try just a 16th, 5/32. There. Now I have two pieces that are keyed in to be good lengths. Now I'm going to move this piece out so that it joins with my rail, I think is what are called. For the time being, I'm going to take both of these. You have to hold the control key down to get both of them to highlight. And I'm just going to spin it hold the control key down, and I'm just spinning it 180 degrees. And then I'm going to, since it's already highlighted, I don't have to reselect it. You can see over there on my outliner that it's still selected. I'm going to drag it up and I'm going to plunk it into there. Now I have my face frame. Now, I know that probably this is going to have to be either, it's also not quite accurate. Well, this problem right here, I don't know why it's doing it. We'll find out in a minute. It's doing it because I had that one off. So I'll make this one active, and I'll go back up and make this one active again, and I will come down here. And what it apparently had done when I was moving it, it selected a point that was not actually on my face frame. When you've got geometry in back of it, sometimes 3D programs just grab what they want to. Okay, now I'm going to take this panel and I'm going to move it kind of in position where I want it and start seeing what we can do here, because it's not going to fit. For one thing, it's the wrong size. How big is that? That's one thing I didn't check. Okay, I'm going to make this one over here active. I'm going to make it my work part, and I'm going to put a dimension up here. Okay, that's only 3/4. Then I made that 3/8. That's all right. There, clear everything out. This dead air time here is because I'm trying to figure out how I want to make this look. I think this would need to be another frame and or rail and style also. So I'll do that. And again, if you have any better ways to do it, message me. We'll attack it later. Okay, I'm going to pull this one out farther because it's actually not even part of that side panel yet. All right. Go in and, well, first find out how big this thing is because it's probably the wrong size. Dimension on the back side, almost 13/16. And grab this one and 31 and almost 31/32. Now, to find out what I really want it to be, I'm going to go back to here and make dimensions internal here so I can see what I have created. My panel, and I just smacked that one out because for some reason I'm getting another screwball dimension. It's still stupid. Well, for the time being, I'll just live with stupid because it shouldn't be. And then I'll do the inside one here. Okay, I already had that one. I'll make this one active, and I'm going to put some lines in it. And you can see what I was talking about. That grabbed the point in back of it, not where I was selecting. I wish I could have come up with just nice chitter chatter patter while I'm trying to generate these elements, but my brain doesn't multitask as well as my computer does. Now you can see that time I had to select it both ways to get what I wanted. It just happens that way. Now I have it, so I want to Shift C to make that a component inside. And I did it again, didn't I, guys? Control Z. We'll select it again. Shift C. And I hate this. It should default to that. There. Now I have component 13. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And maybe I won't be dumb again. Okay. Okay, Shift C, replace with selection. Yes, thank you. And again, you can see that this is an open solid. When all four of these are selected and come in, it should create an apparent solid, but it doesn't. Or maybe it did. Let me check. Come on, tool. Let's move. It did. Oh, hey, neat. It surprised me. So I'm going to hide this one. And that one's bogus. So I'll just go in and create a line, come from here down. Line from here down. And let's go up to the top and see if it's good up there. Yes, but we have extra elements. So I'll get rid of this one. I'll trip down here and get rid of this one. Now that line is one I created when I was not in the active model. And these lines were created a while before. So let's grab these two. I hid them. Now I'll unhide them. And I need to get rid of that stuff. Make this one active. And hopefully I can come up with a nice dimension here real fast. 2564. So I'll just take this back down to a nice dimension. And I also have to make sure that my verticals are right, because they can be all sorts of off also. Okay, I'm in that to work, so I'm going to create a dimension, 25/64. There. I'm going to hide this one because I really prefer to edit the lengths of components along the positive axis rather than dragging it negative. So that's active. Push pull. Oh, nuts, I had one. 33/64. I'll go back into this, make it 1/64. Now, none of these dimensions are going to be good when I get done, but at least I have something that I'll work with now. Select this one, mouse button 1. Mouse button 3 brings up this menu, unhide. And you can see I have an interference, so I'll fix that, even though I know I'm going to have to change it again anyway. select this, and I hope I can get it so it rotates in the space. This is my rotate tool. It's not going to. So I'm going to have to select here, go up here, make it go upside down, and then grab this one at the upper corner right there, and then take it up and put it right in there. Now I have a secondary face frame, and again, I didn't check these dimensions. There are so many things here to keep in mind that have to be verified. That was what I was afraid of. Let me get rid of that dimension since it really didn't like it there. Now we should be able to get a dimension on my part here without it going bogus on me. Okay, now I'm going to have to push pull, extrude this up until I get a nice dimension. I'll keep with that. Now let's unhide that one. And I'm going to assume it's the same off, but I still need the dimension there so I can go in when I'm on my extrude so I know when I get a good dimension. There. Let's go 360 force, and that's 1 1/4. We'll keep it at that for the time being. They're both 1 1/4. Now we may actually have an interference fit right here because of the way I moved that. Nope, it doesn't. See, this is why it's nice if you can keep track of where all of your origins are pointing. I cleared myself because I worked on the opposite side of the axes, and it went this way rather than sucking internally. But many times there's just too many variables, and oopses going on to be able to keep track of all of it. So you pays your money and you take your chance. Now I'm going to take this and try to put it back inside my frame right there. When what I just did is I hit the back side of a corner that was hidden. A lot of times it won't let you do that. I'm going to drag this up to here and see what kind of mishmash I've got there. That is the icon is zoom extent, so it brings everything back in. As when you're zooming in and out and twisting and rotating, sometimes you drift past the I guess you would call it the fore and aft cutting planes is what they're called. That's why sometimes you'll start seeing when you're zooming in, things go invisible. So now I'm going to take this again, since it's still highlighted, and actually it's not inside my component anyway. Now I'm going to start messing things up. I think I want all of my face frame on this one. I want that a little bit bigger. And so it's going to goof up all of my joints down here. So I'll go make this one bigger. First, I will hide that component. Mouse button 1, then when it highlights, mouse button 3, and then you can select hide. So I'm going to make this one. I want to make this another 3/8 larger. And I need to do the same thing to this one. And now, since I've done that, obviously, I need to make my inside frame. These two have to be smaller because I'll show you why. They are all jammed inside of my other face frame. Or at least they should be. Yep, there they are. I see them. That little hidden line right there. So I will hide this one again. I'll make this active, and I will hide it. And I'll go down to the bottom, and you're going to see a problem right there. When I change the dimension on this one by 3/8 smaller, it's going to get shorter the wrong way. Now, this may not be the only time we have to tweak these dimensions. We're going to have to go into it a little bit later and see what kind of damage it's done on my just the dimensions I've been changing. See, this one it's shortened from the side, which is, as long as you know where your origins are, you can kind of guess after a little practice on what's going to get bad. Okay, so now I'm going to make this one, unhide it, and obviously that's shorter because we moved everything in the other direction, which is good. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to grab, and it didn't grab what I wanted to. Come on, lift up. There we go. Take this one from that corner to that corner. And now I will unhide this one. And I'm going to take this face frame and I'm going to move it over to here. And you can see that it's inset here a little bit, and it should be a little bit, ooh, it's more than a little bit long. It's bushels and gobs long. And those are Weltyisms. Those words are really not in the English language. So I need to have this one moved up. So I'm just going to move it along this axis. Move it about like that. And I'm going to move this. Come on. You can see it grabbed a point and back that it wasn't even really on. No, it's not right. I've got several other things to do. For one thing, I've got it fully inset, and I really am going to end up putting a rebate into here.
Hold on a minute.
Oops, moved too far.
He's recording the class.
I'm going to leave that set for a while. I'll shake my head a little bit and clear my brain.
I don't want to do it now. I don't know.
think it's about time I saved this thing. Since I've worked for quite a while here, now I'm going to get rid of this stuff. So what I want to do is create an upper level assembly of those panels. The panel, and I need to put that in it also because that's all part of the panel assembly. I'm going to make the panel active. I'm going to try to drag this back so it's a little bit nicer, although you can see that all of the dimensions are just bonkers. There, and now I'll grab this one and bring it down a little bit. So you can see it sort of resembles what used to be there, and that's good enough for the time being. There's a lot of work involved in making one of these things usable for woodworking. Just saved it again. What in the world is going on there? Let's hide that. Let's hide a whole bunch of this stuff. That's very interesting. I can get part of it to highlight, but the rest of it doesn't. Okay, apparently, there's the group that it was. Interesting. I'm going to make this a component right now so I can pull it out and see how it was created. Okay, I'm going to Control Z a couple times because I've got more stuff in there. Let's hide that. What is that panel doing in there? Okay, let's hide this panel, hide that, and then unhide the component that I just made. I would say we just found duplicate geometry. That one doesn't have it. I'm going to drag this out and put it up in the sideboard itself. I am hoping that all of these drawers are the same size. So I'm going to move this grouped component outboard. No, not that far. It went off kilter. There. I exploded this group so I can get a handle on what's being created here. And they have used two different size pieces of molding. A lot of this is just touching things, see what's highlighting, touching something else. I'm going to make this panel, I'm going to pull it out somewhat so I can see what's going on. There's a false component right there. There's lines here that shouldn't be. So I'll get rid of that line. Okay. That's why the other line. Okay, let me undo this a little bit and I'll tell you what I just found. This line here, this line here, this line here, and this line here define three different faces. And that makes life a little tedious. So I'm just going to delete this middle one. And then when I go delete this one, you can see the whole thing goes away. And you can also see that there's gaps in there where this thing was busy work created. I'm going to get rid of that line, and then part of the molding disappears, which is okay because we're probably going to create new molding around it anyway. Trying to get this rotated around. Do we have extra junk in here? That doesn't look too bad. Okay. L for line function. I'm going to close this back off again and hope it makes a surface. There. One of those lines that I just removed made that a shell. Okay, let's put some dimensions on here to see what we've got messed up. I know you guys are probably getting tired of this. This is really, really boring. It is not nearly as much fun as creating something yourself. But sometimes you got to do the boring. Aha, another bogus line. Oh yeah, took the whole thing out. Let's see if I can get one back in here by selecting this line here to that line. And no. One thing you'll find out sometimes when people start giving you arced surfaces, they're ever so slightly out of plane. And then when you're trying to create a new surface. It's not there because you can see right there the two lines don't work. So let me try to put in another one from here, zoom up real big to here. Okay, let me get rid of this one. I'm going to have to do a lot of finessing here. I'm almost thinking that this drawer would have been easier, this face would have been easier to create from scratch, just using the outside of it. Let's try making another line and seeing if we can close that in. No, okay. Enough diddling around. What I want is and I'll show you well, first I need some more dimensions. I'm chasing my little 3D mouse all over the floor, or all over the workbench, rather. Okay, let's try this one because it's not even giving me a good chance to get a dimension. This thing must really be skewed. Okay, make that active. Let's go back into dimension. Oh, my. Wow. Here we have a dimension. 16 and 39/64. So there's another dimension in back of it. I'm just going to create a board. Draw, create board. This Ruby plugin is available it's in a nest on woodworlds.com. You can go in and search for make board or create board, and sometimes you'll find it, sometimes you won't. So what I want to do now, this says the axes it's going to be created on. There's 6 of them, 6 combinations. So I'm not going to worry about those. I'm going to make this 15 inches, and I'm going to make it 4 1/4. And 3/4 thick. And somehow I messed up. So let's make that board again. Draw, create board. Let's make it 16 1/2. And then tab, 4 1/4. Tab one more time and 0.75. Now we'll hit OK, and we have a board that's created inside of our model. It's a subcomponent, but that's okay. We'll keep that. And now I'm going to move this from here to here. And I think that's where we're going to leave the drawer for the time being. I've done a lot of talking. It's been boring for you guys probably because all I do is chatter and you're wondering what he's doing when there's no sound. I'm doing something that is really boring. Teaching is fun. Reconstructing a model that was done poorly is aggravating, it's boring, and you sometimes wonder if it's even worth the effort. But I will be doing more of this. I am going to get this so you have an idea on when you grab one of these useless things on what you have to go through to be able to take it and make it your own. Next time, which will probably be sometime tomorrow afternoon, I will show the rest. I'll do some more of the drawer, and then I'll start doing some of the carcass work on the inside of this. Thanks for listening, and now I'll turn. Let me save this thing before I lose it. Save. Turn screen share off so you can at least see me wave goodbye. Thank you. I enjoy presenting these. The topic is necessary, boring, but necessary. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you catch this on either Google Plus or YouTube or Woodworlds, please give me a like, especially if it's on YouTube. I'm trying to expand my viewer base. It's not going real quick, but at least somebody's here watching it. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later.